Take a moment to simply stand or sit, or even just wiggle your fingers. Feel the sturdy framework beneath your skin, the silent architecture that gives you shape, strength, and the ability to interact with the world. Now imagine peeling back that layer, not to reveal muscle, but to discover nothing. No skeleton, no rigid support, no internal scaffolding whatsoever. And let's find the answer to the question, what if? Imagine us as boneless beings, a radical redefinition of form. Our bodies would become hydrostatic humans, maintaining shape not with rigid bones, but with internal fluid pressure, much like a jellyfish or slug. This would render us fundamentally soft, pliable, and likely restrict our overall size due to the sheer physics of maintaining structural integrity. Movement would transform into slow, deliberate locomotion achieved through peristaltic contractions, wave-like muscular movements pushing against internal fluids, allowing us to slither or creep. Standing upright, running, or jumping would be impossible concepts in this soft reality. Furthermore, core physiological systems would require drastic reinvention. Without bone marrow, blood cell production would need an alternative site. Mineral storage, especially calcium, would be fundamentally altered. Even vital organ protection would demand new evolutionary solutions. Perhaps dense, protective muscle layers, or organs floating freely within fluid-filled cavities. In a world without bones, our very interaction with the environment would be radically redefined. The fundamental principle of leverage, essential for gripping, lifting, and striking, would simply cease to exist. This absence means complex tool use, constructing shelters, or even shaping the environment beyond soft pushing or pulling would be utterly impossible, limiting technological advancement dramatically. Moreover, our delicate sensory organs, the brain, eyes, and inner ears, would lack the skull's crucial protection, leaving them profoundly vulnerable. This would necessitate deep-set, highly protected sensory systems, or severely restrict their development, altering our perception of reality. Acquiring sustenance would be confined to easily digestible plant matter, small soft-bodied creatures, or scavenged remains. Defense against threats would shift from direct combat to reliance on camouflage, chemical deterrence, or collective amorphous movements, highlighting an existence entirely dependent on adaptability over force. Without bones, gravity becomes our greatest adversary, permanently confining us to a horizontal existence. Our fluid-like bodies would perpetually cling to the ground. Climbing, swinging, or even navigating a slight incline would be monumental, if not impossible, challenges. Imagine a world where every upward movement demands immense effort, and a simple fall could be disastrous for our soft forms. This profound vulnerability suggests an aquatic life might be far more advantageous. Water's natural buoyancy would offer crucial support, partially compensating for our lack of internal structure, making movement and survival significantly easier. On land, however, our squishy forms would be at the mercy of every bump, dip, and gravitational pull. Furthermore, climate sensitivity would be extreme. Without the means to build robust shelters, we'd be terribly exposed to harsh weather or temperature fluctuations. Survival would necessitate finding natural protection, seeking refuge in caves, burrowing into soft earth, or hiding within dense vegetation. Our boneless world would be one of perpetual ground-level struggle against the elements. In a world without bones, the very fabric of society would be utterly transformed. Imagine a collective existence where limited mobility reigns supreme. Without the ability to stand tall or travel far, societies would naturally be small, localized pockets of life, perhaps isolated from one another. This confinement would foster unique evolutionary paths and specialized adaptations within each distinct community. Our familiar modes of communication would also vanish. Forget elaborate speeches. Communication might involve intricate chemical signals like pheromones or subtle ground vibrations. Tactile interactions, perhaps prolonged physical contact, could form the basis of their deep social bonds, creating an intimacy we can barely conceive. Furthermore, survival would necessitate extreme cooperation. Picture communal huddles for shared warmth, or a unified mass of soft bodies forming an intimidating defense against predators. Collective foraging, where every individual plays a role in gathering resources, would be crucial for a species inherently vulnerable in a world of rigid structures. This soft society would truly embody the spirit of together we stand, or rather, together we slither. Without bones, our path to intelligence would dramatically diverge. The intricate hand-brain connection, fundamental to human abstract thought, problem-solving, and tool-making, would simply not exist. This absence wouldn't preclude intelligence, but rather channel its evolution into profoundly different forms. Instead of manipulating the physical world, cognition might become intensely sensory-rich and action-poor. Intelligence could blossom from an advanced capacity for intricate environmental sensing, exceptional memory for subtle patterns and cues, and highly sophisticated social intelligence, crucial for collective survival through complex chemical communication. Problem-solving would pivot from altering to deeply understanding and adapting within the immediate surroundings. The philosophical self of such a fluid, ground-bound creature would be intrinsically distinct, lacking the ability to stand tall, build enduring structures, or gaze independently at the stars. Their self-awareness and philosophical inquiry would be deeply connected to their immediate, ever-shifting environment and perhaps a more communal, present-moment existence, valuing subtle connections over individual mastery. Without bones, human existence radically redefines form, function, and society, leading to a vastly different intelligence. In your opinion, what if humans had no bones? Share your thoughts in the comments.